T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Oh, boy. I've been sitting in this chair for half an hour ready to go, and I just realized I left my bell and my kazoo some 20 feet away. Doesn't help you now, as my mom would say. So trust me, I'm ringing the bell. It's a Thursday. For us, it's our Friday. I should get that out of the way right now. No shows Friday, Monday because of programming stuff. So enjoy it. Enjoy it. I guess it's a football Thursday. Kevin the Medium joining us today from the Hughes Sports Podcast. He is a medium. One of these days, maybe he'll be an extra large. Coming up in hour 2, Rickie Ricardo will be joining us. New York Yankees and Philadelphia Eagles Spanish-language broadcaster and DraftKings MLB analyst. Ring, 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 ring. What's up, Kev? How you doing?
I am doing amazing. How are you doing?
Good. Is that a camouflage shirt you're wearing? I almost didn't see you there.
It is. Do you like that? It's actually my Cozumel
Oh,
shirt.
Cozumel. I almost killed a man in Cozumel, Mexico. That's a story for another time. I know I've told you that story. All right, let's get down to business. Accidentally. Had I gone to jail, it would have been manslaughter. It was not premeditated. Brrr. Okay, Kev, enough Mickey Mouse and let's go. People came here today, hour 1 especially, the Canadian hour, to talk Canadian Football League. And did I show you these? Kaboom!
You did.
I dug the, yeah.
How
Oh my
cool.
gosh. Oh, I know, and I actually bought a rider one for me. Tonight, it's the Toronto Argonauts and the Calgary Stampeders. Kaboom. Which one are you putting up, Kev? Let's get right into it. Thursday Night Football. What do you got?
I've taken the Stampeders on this one. I think VA is going to just be that much better than Mr. Kelly.
Okay. Well, we welcome the Argos fans. We welcome the Stampeders fans. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I actually think the Toronto Argonauts have more fans than the Calgary Stampeders. There's today's hot take. Boom! The Toronto Argonauts have more fans than the Calgary Stampeders. And that's not trolling. That's honest. Sorry, Jeff, the Stamps fan. I mean, everybody showed up here today to get into it. Kev, I've read the game notes. As you can see, I slept great last night. I got a lot to... Chad Kelly, all-time 1-2 versus the Calgary Stampeders. Vernon Adams Jr., all-time 5-5 versus the Toronto Argonauts. Here's another one. The Argos are back at BMO Field. It's their home opener tonight, Kevin. As you know, it's their since 2021, the Argos all-time are 30-13 at BMO Field. How much do you think that makes a difference tonight? Like, not that record, but the fact that they're home.
Their home is going to, I mean, they're obviously going to be a little hyped up, a little more hyped up to play at home finally. But maybe Chad Kelly will stop whining. We'll see. I don't think so. He'll find something else to whine about. But I think I still think VA's got just that. He's just on a different level than anybody else out there right now. So, yeah. My money's going to be behind the junior.
Well, I'm pretty fired up about the show. By the way, Rich from Edmonton, all the way, hey, ba the Elkabos. I got almost all of them here. Rich from Edmonton writes in. He says, that's quite a hot take, Rod, but all those empty seats at McDump don't lie. Listen, I don't know what it's going to take. Are we going to get into it right now about the usual CFL line of talking? Nobody wants to talk about the games. They want to talk about fandom. They want to talk attendance and all the rest. I'll say this. People like Jeff, the Stamps fan, there ain't nothing the Stamps could ever do that he would say anything negative about them. And you know what? All teams need fans like that. Teams love fans like that. But when the Flames bought the Stampeders, we all felt it would be the death knell for the Calgary Stampeders. And just look at the result. Just look at it. So don't tell me for 1 second it was a good thing when the Calgary Flames bought the Calgary Stampeders. Security, I guess. They don't market the team. Who was it? Even Jeff, the Stamps fan, said you don't see any Stampeder gear around town in Calgary. So I didn't want to go down that road. I guess I was looking at it more of a positive thing because the Argos, they have so many fans that write into this show all the time. And I'm pretty sure there's nobody in Toronto right now talking about tonight's game, which is an absolute freaking disgrace, but that's got nothing to do with us. Yeah. What's the first thing you think of? Go ahead. Go ahead.
We talk about it. Back when 960 was on the air, they didn't talk about the Stampeders. I'm sure they had been told from the powers above, we're the Flame station. We got to talk Flames 24/7. They didn't talk about the Stamps. Stamps aren't being marketed. I had season tickets for 10 years. I got one phone call a year. I got one email every 6 months to remind me to renew my season tickets. Other than that, you had the odd event that for season ticket holders that was really hokey. They do nothing for the fans. So, of course, the fans aren't going to show up. Put on top of that the worst stadium in the league, and I can say that because I spent 10 years sitting in those seats. The absolute worst stadium in the league. They got to turn something around, and hopefully new ownership somewhere down the road will help.
I don't know if that's going to happen tonight or not, but we got fans of the whole league here. That's what I love. The CFL comes here to talk every day, especially during the season, but I've got Calgary to win tonight. Kevin's got Calgary to win tonight. The fun little word association game that I've been playing with these mini helmets, which I tried to play with Jock Wilson, and he completely ruined it. And he apologized afterwards. He just didn't really get it. I guess his mind doesn't work that way. In that, who do you think of when you see this? Who do you think of?
I immediately think Pinball Clements.
Okay, everybody says Pinball. Who's the first guy you think of when you see this?
Dickinson.
Scruffy was playing that with me. He said Dickinson too. For me, it's Doug Flutie. One more. Who's this? Who do you think of?
Oh boy. Nobody. I look at that helmet now and it's like, it's blank to me. All the great teams they had, I can't put one name on it.
Okay. For me, it's the Giz, which I will tell you, I'm talking about Henry Gizmo Williams, the greatest motivational speaker I've ever seen. The Regina Thunder. I don't know if you ever saw the Giz speak, and I've seen them all.
I didn't.
Well, not all of them, but I've seen a lot. And Giz was the best one. He came in for the Regina Thunder banquet, and he just had the whole room just. That dude's story. Mine
would be Pinball Clements. When I was working at Shoppers Drug Mart as a manager, they had a conference out in Toronto, and he came in and spoke. I'm telling you, even people who aren't football fans had no idea who this guy was, were riveted to every word. He's amazing.
What a guy. I love him.
Oh.
Well, we're in it. We're in it. Rich in Edmonton says, Dan Kepley. Ryan from upstate New York says, Warren Moon. BW from Edmonton says, Blake Marshall. So we're getting them all out today. Kev said, what are we going to talk about? I said pretty much all CFL. So just woosah, relax. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show. Game Plus streaming, our own YouTube channel, WQVZ Radio Podcast, if that's your thing. Going to air in Nevada in hour 2, and that's when Rickie Ricardo will be joining us. Hi, Kev. We're over here. You're looking out the window. You're like me in math class.
Well, it's really windy
looking
here.
out the window.
Yeah, okay. It's windy, and I'm up at the park, and we didn't put our drapes away around the gazebo, and they're blowing like crazy. So I was like, oh, crap.
Okay. By the way, the warm-up, look what I got. The warm-up is brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions. And that cruise is on sale now. Book now and save the ultimate CFL fan cruise. You're all here right now because you love the CFL. You love cruises. You hate winter. Why would you not get on the boat? The Love Boat with Kevin, the medium, on it. Also, Adam Bighill, Willie Jefferson, Jake Seresna. Contact Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca and book your spots now. It will depart out of Fort Lauderdale, going all through the Caribbean, February 20th. This is an unbelievable fun game to play, this word association. And I know all the Stamps fans have shown up. Happy Stamps game day. We spent the whole first segment on it. Show up on time, please. Ken in Mississauga says, my wife is the same as you, Kevin, was at a conference with many speakers and said pinball was by far the best. So let me just say this. The word association game. For you, the BC Lions. Who do you... I know the answer because I know you. Can you tell everybody else who you think of when you see this?
Lou
Passalia. Lou Passalia, as Brian Hall would call him. I feel like Mr. Dress-Up sitting here, but if you saw my table, I got all these mini helmets in front of me, a kazoo, a bell. Yeah, daytime. He was the original. He was the OG, Mr. Dress-Up, the original daytime talk guy. Yeah. Yeah, Rich in Edmonton says, Lou, well, let's finish it out. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Who do you think of when you see the Winnipeg Blue Bombers?
Blue Bombers, probably.
You want to see it again?
Yep, keep it up there. That would probably have to, right away. I went to Caravetta. I don't know why. Why did I say Caravetta? You never played.
Really don't know why. No.
Yeah.
For me, it's Dave Ritchie. Frankly,
oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
he's a warrior. Most people say G. Roy Simon, but I'm not putting words in your mouth. Can you pick one?
Let's go with Ritchie.
Dave Ritchie. Okay, the Smurf Mafia. How about the Hamilton Tiger Cats? God, that's. I love that hasn't changed in 100 years. I love that.
I'm trying to think of his name. My brother-in-law's brother-in-law was hit by this guy, Angelo Mosco. And he said he tried out.
Yeah, I think so.
He tried out for Hamilton, and he said, I got hit once. I got up, I walked off the field, and I said, I'm done.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but so the Ticats office used to be on Balsam Avenue. They used to call the Ticats the Balsam Street Bengals. That was their office. So the day before the game, Carm Cartier, you've heard me talk about Carm. We were there to play the Tiger Cats with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We walked into their office, and who was sitting behind the front desk having a dart and a coffee were Ron Lancaster and Angelo Mosca. I thought I was going to have to bring in a defibrillator because Carm was like, he just stood there and stared at them. I mean, they're just having coffee and donuts and having a dart. Not a big deal. It was a Thursday afternoon. And I kind of apologized. I said, just a little ahead of my time, Carm. He goes, well, that for you, that'd be like walking into a room with Wayne Gretzky and Grant Fuhr sitting there. I'm like, oh.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I get it now. Okay, and let's save the best for last, Kevin the Medium. Dun, da, da, da. I went and bought this the other day.
Nice.
In the Ryder's store. Who do you think of when
Lancaster,
you see
that? Of course, Lancaster.
He never even wore it. Okay, well,
but
fair. He never wore this. I actually think of Richie Hall popped into my head of all things. And I'll say a little story here. I don't want to. I'll just say. I told this story last week, Kev. I went to the Ryder store, and young girl working behind the till, she's probably 16. She sold me that helmet. She's like, are you in our system? I don't know, maybe. Try Pedersen.
No alumni discount, no staff discount, no GFY discount. Just full price, bend over, take it. What that told me, which I already knew, the movie's over. Leave the theater. The guy's coming in with the broom and the scoop. They're sweeping up popcorn. The movie's over. Get out. It's over.
I thought they would charge you double.
Yeah, no kidding. There was a time. BW from Edmonton says, Virginia Eric showed up. Everybody showed up a little late. Vancouver Eric says, RP, are you still in need of a Montreal helmet? I actually am, but I will tell you that my FAU Owls helmet from where I live, Florida Atlantic University, is identical to Montreal Alouettes. So I was thinking of peeling off the labels and just painting it when I go home. We'll see. Virginia Eric says, Virginia Eric checking in. We've been talking CFL all show, or you might want to rewind. BW from Edmonton says, Tony Champion. Brendan Mans writes in, says Osbaldiston. And he also says Stiegel and Mike Sellers. So we're playing word association for those that have all just showed up. When you see these mini helmets of mine that I bought at a garage sale, it was like the best purchase of the summer for me. Who do you think of when you see these names? And I'll just lastly, if we get serious at all, Andrew from North Battleford says, I'll say it again, Kevin Glenn. It's like, can I put a helmet on every single finger?
I was going to say, can you say Kevin Glenn for every helmet?
It's unbelievable. I mean, we had a great time. Yeah, go ahead.
Has there been any other player that's played for every team in the league?
No, he's the only guy. I was on Kevin's show last night, the Hughes Podcast. He would like it called the Jake Hughes Podcast. It's called the Hughes Sports Podcast. And I just said, there are an unbelievable Netflix documentary series. And to sit here, we could talk about Kevin Glenn playing or belonging to every team. The Grey Cup kid, Tad Cornegay, who played in all those Grey Cups with different teams every time. The 13th man. What would be the BC Lions, since that's your team, what would be their Netflix special?
Probably that 2011 season where they went.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes, that's a good one.
Right?
You're not just a pretty face.
Yeah. That would be the huge. Since that, I have not been able to get that out of my head. That why hasn't anybody done the CFL docuseries? It needs to be done.
Well, I hope it's coming. And I saw this thing. I mean, it's such, I don't know, man. I mean, I've always been the fish swimming upstream, as you know. That's why I have a show. That's why I've had a career. But all anybody wants to talk, I see this. Edmonton and Montreal are playing Saturday in the biggest game of the week. Everybody's talking about it. It was voted the game of the week yesterday. And what do I see out today? That there's no tickets sold for it. And I'm just like, oh my God. Can we not talk about Cody Fajardo being 5-1 all in time against the Alouettes and going against a team that torched him on his way out of town? Like, why the hell is this all about? The freaking tickets. What the hell's wrong with you people? And secondly, why aren't the marketers being called in front of to the front of the room and given 40 lashes? Go ahead.
It's asinine to me, and it was funny because I was thinking about this yesterday watching the Blue Jays game to a 3/4 empty stadium, and nobody talks about how afternoon games don't draw anybody to a freaking Major League Baseball stadium. We talk about the game. Why is it? I don't understand why the hyper focus on attendance to the CFL fan. It's mind-boggling to me.
Well, I'm just one man. We're not going to change it. I just remember Luke Wilson just bursting onto the scene last year going, I'm going to change the Twitter culture and the negativity and toxicity of the CFL. No, you're not. I said that from Dick. No, you're not. You're not changing history. You're not going to change people the way they are. Joe Lazado writes in. He says, when I see that Ryder helmet, I think of Derek Dennis because we're both two cool dudes born in Queens, New York. I mean, Derek Dennis will tell you that he's a Calgary Stampeder, but it is what it is. And somebody wrote in and said, George Reed. There's no wrong answer, but I mean, come on, guys. These guys George Reed never put this helmet on his head. And I had the opportunity to buy a classic Ryder jersey the other day, but to be honest, this was my era. 20 years is the voice of the team. This is what we wore. So Eddie Davis, Omar Morgan, Kerry Joseph, Darian Durant. Is that not a good enough list for everybody that nobody's even brought up here today? People act. Yeah. Anyways. And Argo Bill writes in. He says, "Good morning, crew. Pinball when I see the Argo helmet and Joe Theismann with the old A on the side." And, by the way, Rich also says BC's would be beating the Baltimore Stallions at home for the Cup, in my opinion. I remember watching that 1994 Grey Cup. Tom Cochran played the halftime show saying life is a highway. Were you there, Kevin, 94 at that game?
I was not. I had small ones, so there wasn't a chance to go. But I watched that game. Oh, my gosh, what a game.
Well, yeah, a walk-off field goal by Lou Pasaglia. The whole U.S. expansion is a series that not only would I watch it, I'd probably watch it 10 times. It's at least an episode. But the game-winning field goal, because you go back, and if you read the book, End Zone and Border Wars by Ed Willis, you must know Ed, wrote for the Vancouver province for years. He wrote a book called End Zone and Border Wars, the story of the U.S. expansion, and he just said, that book is so unbelievable. I don't know why the CFL doesn't want to acknowledge that era, but they've told me they don't, so whatever. But that Grey Cup itself was Canada versus America. It wasn't just BC versus Baltimore. It was a nationalistic thing long before Trump was ever involved or any of the Trudeau or any of these things. In a good way. There wasn't hate. But that last second field goal, I'll never forget. Louis kicked it. You were all watching. And the uprights, there was a Canadian flag waving in the end zone behind the upright. I'm like,
I remember it.
If that was a movie, nobody would believe it.
The hug afterwards, I have that picture on my wall, the hug afterwards with Louis being lifted up. It was just one of those iconic BC Lions moments. And that was back, you literally had Canada's team playing for the Cup.
Oh, yeah, everybody was cheering for BC. That was quite a day. Jeff the Stamps fan says, with instant replay, Baltimore wins that game. Jeff the Stamps fan, the king of things that don't frickin' matter.
Oh, my goodness. He can't give me anything, can he?
No. Virginia Eric says, I'll take Cody over Davis Alexander. El Camos! Well, I'll rip through this. You got Calgary to beat Toronto. Everybody has Sask to beat Ottawa. That includes you, right?
Yeah, correct.
Edmonton and Montreal. Who do you have?
I went back and forth on this one because Alexander's such a great quarterback. But death, taxes, and Cody winning. So I got to take the Alcamos. Yeah.
Okay. And Hamilton at BC. Well, I don't even
take
the
BC Lions.
You would take BC against God. If they were playing God, you would take BC.
Of course I would.
Which they wouldn't win. Yeah. Hey, what a tale of the tape, by the way. BC Lions at one time 1-5, and all of a sudden they're going into a game against Hamilton, and they're favored by 7. Which, I mean, I'm not the biggest betting expert, but I know that 7 is a whopping betting line in the sport of football, especially, for that particular game. But we'll talk about more of this all when we come back. Vintage Sasko has entered the chat, formerly known as Fake Gainer. He's got some comments for you. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Let's get it going. It's brought to you by Western Dodge, and we'll be right back here on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly, we built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics, game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Dean, Brody, and the Wreck Loss teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else. I can't help myself.
Two of Canada's biggest country acts. One stage, one unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at saskpix.ca.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Just an overwhelming response to Kevin the Medium on the program today, and I'm so excited. He said he wants to talk later, and I'm assuming it's all good. Yeah, it's our Friday because we're off the air Friday and Monday. No shows because of programming commitments, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, this is our Football Thursday. Impromptu games of word association. Rob is watching in Windthorst. He says when he sees this helmet, he thinks of Bobby Jurison, which when I was in the Riders store, they got jerseys up at Jurison. He hadn't played in 30 years. It's amazing. The poll question, let me just say, point one was CFL Week 10. We got our picks for Pump Jacks. They got a watch party Friday night, 7 p.m. Riders and Red Blacks. The poll question is to do with the NFL. It's point two. It's been 179 days since the Super Bowl. Tonight, the long wait is finally over as we get to see two NFL teams face off in preseason. The annual Pro Football Hall of Fame game goes tonight in Canton, Ohio. The Carolina Panthers laying 1.5 at FanDuel against the Arizona Cardinals. My God, if you were betting on NFL preseason football, you are some sort of degenerate. The poll question for EMJ Marketing is, are you following NFL preseason? Before I tell you the results, thank you, Jason and Red Deer, for updating us on those. Kevin, what are you voting?
If I happen to be watching Sports Center, I'll pay attention, but it's not something I go looking for. It's preseason. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of preseason. As you know, we've had this talk many times. It's a necessary evil, but like you said, I know people who were like salivating, literally drooling, waiting to bet on it. And I'm like, you bet on NFL preseason games? Yeah, here, just give me your money.
Hey,
just give it to
But
me.
what do we say? We're inclusive. Follow what you want. But I mean, I can't wait for the game tonight for a variety of reasons. We have our team year-end banquet. The playoffs start tomorrow, and then we're going to be racing home to watch the Hall of Fame. I'm going to be watching it. I'm not going to be betting on it. And I'll be watching the CFL Thursday night football game too. And that's just me. But by the way, on that topic, Carlos in Indiana, I probably should wait till when you're gone. But Carlos in Indiana says, NFL preseason is filled with friends and family games. If someone like Rod can get a luxury suite ticket to a preseason game, it says all you need to know about the interest level of the preseason. LOL. And BW says, are preseason tickets cheaper? Or season ticket holders don't care? No, they're way, way, way cheaper. Good memory, Carlos. I went to a Dolphins game a couple years ago, and for like $150, I could sit in a suite, which was amazing because I was with all the players' families. That was an investment. That same ticket in the regular season was $1,500. $1,500 for that same one game, and I didn't buy it. But for a preseason game for the Dolphins, I went for $150, made friends with all the players' families, and then got game tickets later in the season from them. It was an investment. But if you're not into it, because we made friends, shocking. Vintage Sasko, formerly Fake Gainer, writes in. He says, Full House Hughes, who is your way too early CFL most outstanding player? I'll hang up and listen.
I'll hang up and listen. I love it. He's old. He's old like I am. Hey, Dan, what do you think about this trade? I'll hang up and listen. I mean, halfway through the season, I don't know how you wouldn't put Cody Fajardo up in the West and Alexander up in the East. I mean, is there anybody else that's been that consistent every single
Justin
game?
Rankin. Justin Rankin Edmonton's been pretty damn good overall.
Yeah, you could put his name in there, but I still think Cody and Alexander. It's got to be.
Mine Cody. Daniel writes in. He says, the 94 Grey Cup, I was there in the end zone where Louis kicked the field goal. Rich in Edmonton says, the Mad Greek ad had me go to my fridge in the office twice already for my leftover pizza. The Mad Greek Eatery. Whether it's pizza, ribs, or authentic Greek favorites, it's good. It's good. Make it the Mad Greek Eatery. Tonight, open until 11 p.m. I know we could sit here and talk about the CFL forever, but there are a few other things I wanted to get to with you. Rich in Edmonton says Trevor Harris has been damn good. For whatever reason, Trevor is that looked past guy. I don't know whether that bothers him or not. I don't know. He's the reigning Grey Cup champion. I'd like to think he doesn't care, but he just never gets named.
He was asked that at the Grey Cup in a scrum, and he smiled and said, no, it doesn't bother me. I love flying beneath the radar. And he does. He's not that electric quarterback that's going to draw highlight reel after highlight reel. All he does is gets the job done. We talked about this last night on our podcast after you had left us, and he has this way of picking apart a defense that's almost boring to watch, but extremely effective.
Right. It's funny you say that because it's annoying to those of us that do show up every day and do a great job, and people think that you make it look easy. And Trevor Harris is that guy. But if you actually stand and watch him at field level, it helps. He is unbelievably polished. His footwork is perfect. His throws are perfect. He doesn't make a mistake. Cody's fun because he's all over the place. He's doing spinoramas. He's doing, you know what I mean? It's fun to watch, right? And it's not boring. He's not boring. But Trevor has the Grey Cup. Oh, by the way, Kim in Calgary writes in. She says Vernon Adams has been pretty good. Right. I don't like the early season talk, but because Vintage Sasko's a P1, I'll read it. But I want to get this. Speaking of Calgary, Kelly Rudy announcing yesterday that he has been let go by Sportsnet, or his contract being renewed. I do want to spend a moment or two on all of that. Thoughts?
You know what? When you were in Calgary a few years back, and we talked to this really briefly on our show, I had the absolute privilege of meeting all kinds of sports icons, from Rudy to Lanny McDonald, everywhere in between. Of everybody that came out to our different locations, Kelly probably was the most gracious, most professional person I've ever met. He's the one who stayed afterwards and talked to every single person that was in attendance. He took pictures with everybody. He sold me. It was one of those, I always knew who he was. I wasn't a huge fan. But after that day, I remember going home and I remember going, wow, what a human. Like, maybe this is just an act he puts on when he's out in public, but that's what you're supposed to do when you're in his position. And you could just feel it. Energy was just, man, I'm going to miss him being on that panel. The camaraderie between him and Kevin was just phenomenal. So it's not going to be the same. But as we talked about, change is inevitable. That's the one thing that's constant, change. So, dang, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. In his video, he said he wasn't retiring.
Right. Well, I mean, easy to say change. I mean, what are we going to stop watching hockey? I see some people saying that they are going to stop watching hockey, but I don't believe that.
No.
I mean, it's just over and over and over. We see it with these TV networks. The people in charge, they run it into the ground, and then they sell it. Don't get me going. Vancouver Eric writes, then he says, Trevor Harris is the best quarterback in the CFL. Where's the disrespect? The disrespect, respectfully, Eric, is that nobody talks about him in MVP conversations ever. He's never been a conference MVP. He's certainly never won it for the league. Nobody ever talks about Trevor Harris. That's where the disrespect is, despite his perfection. It's called being a victim of your own success, I guess. You know, but I'll tell you, I mean, that's the other thing. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
If you want to show a young quarterback how to play the game, take any game Harris has ever played in, and it literally, if you want to mirror somebody, that's the guy you want to mirror. That's the basics of being the great quarterback.
I'll be honest, it's why I love sports so much, and I've only been in it my whole life. Hey, boys, see those young kids that train here, the hockey pit. When Trevor Harris flipped open his Grey Cup ring box in June and just sat back and cried, there ain't nothing better. You know, with this baseball team, because you and I talk about them, when I bring it up, I tear up when I think about this specific team, the 2026 Moose Jaw Miller Express. I cry about how they treat me, how they treat each other. Oh, my God. And I'm like, I don't know what the people that aren't into sports, what the hell do you do? What gets you
I don't get it.
revved? Oh, I don't, politics, maybe? But it make you cry? Tears of anger? I'm like, oh, my God, we won the election. Oh, my God, we got that seat in Saskatoon Lake Center. Oh. All right, Kevin. Talk to you later. RP Show continues right after this.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show. Sports update coming up, and I'll finish the rest of this. For the streaming audience that's tuned in, we have a troll. You want to handle him? He's under user blankety blank blank blank, like Jack Eye Wi-Fi. He writes, what is the point of this show anyway? You wonder why people don't care about the CFL. Maybe talk about the season they are playing now. Hey, Jackwagon, we talked about it for the first 30 minutes. Where were you? We went through all the games this week, and tonight's Thursday Night Football. So go piss up a rope. Leave if you don't like it. How's that, Producer Corey? Yeah. We talked about Kelly Rudy being let go. Shane in Deer Valley writes in, he says, I agree, Kelly Rudy was great on Sportsnet. Another reason not to keep cheering for the Flames. I don't know that it was a Flames thing. I think that it was a Sportsnet thing. But honestly, who knows? Brendan says, to that guy or gal, it's the RP show, not the CFL show. I couldn't have said it better myself. Wow. Which we were playing the word association game earlier. I was bringing up helmets because tonight it's Calgary versus Toronto. I don't have my hand on it. I said, who do you think of when you see these helmets? And the gentleman, Kirk from Toronto, writes in. He says, Dieter Brock for me, Winnipeg. Well, it's kind of specific to this specific helmet, which I feel like the Bombers wore from like around, 97 to, 8? But whatever. I get it. 902-518-33. And speaking of, I said it earlier, the Hamiltons, the Edmontons, I admire these. Any team that doesn't change their logo for 100 years. You notice the RP show, we're in season 8, and that little logo you see on the screen has not changed since day one, 1,793 episodes ago. Again, I don't know why these marketers feel the need to go changing everything. Anyways, to the games. Brendan says the Riders survived similar injuries to the wide receiver group last year. Can they do it again? We are about to find out. Well, you're not going to find out Friday night. They're playing the 0-7 Ottawa Red Blacks, and the U12 girls flag team could beat the Ottawa Red Blacks. That we'll find out after this week how they can survive. Wayne in BC writes in, he says, wow, that's crazy that Kelly Rudy was let go by Sportsnet. None of it makes sense. Wayne says, I'm laughing my ass off, Rod, comparing politics to sports. Remember, there's no crying in baseball, LOL. And he also says, Rod, I think of Ken Austin of 1989 fame, but you could include his 1 year as head coach in 2007. Don't even get me going on Ken Austin. And I was thinking about that this morning when I was reading the game notes, which I have here. And they said last week that Ken Austin, the Canadian Football Hall of Fame member, mentored Caden Salter at Liberty. No, he didn't. Well, he did at Liberty, but he's not in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. You guys should know that. But accuracy doesn't matter anymore. 902-518-3033. Let me get to a few of the other things that I hadn't yet because we got rolling on the CFL. The troll just wasn't here for it, but he shows up and thinks the world revolves around him. We should start talking about what I want you to talk about when I join. What a dick. Point 3. Ernie Clement's 2-run homer in the 10th inning lifted the Toronto Blue Jays to a 5-4 win over the Houston Astros Wednesday. The game was tied at 3-3 entering the 10th with the automatic runner on second when Clement sent the first pitch from Bennett Sousa into left field to put the Blue Jays on top, and they're already at it at the Chicago Cubs today. Point 4, the Detroit Red Wings are hiring a search firm to help find Steve Yzerman's successor. Yzerman was the club's general manager from April of 2019 until last month when he transitioned to a role of senior advisor. Owner Christopher Illich and the firm are expected to look for an analytics and data-driven successor to Yzerman, according to Helen St. James of the Detroit Free Press. It is what it is, to quote Roy Shivers. Sometimes, let me tell you a little something. I'm not around the Detroit Red Wings scene, but what I see is the Wings have been garbage for 10 years, and Yzerman's just the latest. They've had a revolving door of coaches. There's something wrong there. We see it a lot. Mike Ilitch was the owner when they won all those cups. Now the kid takes over, and I'm not saying the sons of the owners don't know what they're doing, but what I'm saying, if you need to you need to hire a search firm to find the best data-driven analytics guy, you're done. I feel so sorry for Red Wings fans. I feel so sorry for you, because here in the NCAA baseball league that I work in, just get off your ass, guys, and go down to the front lines and talk to the people. Our pitching coach, Jeff Freeborn, who is also a scout for the Cincinnati Reds, he was on this show a couple weeks ago, remember? I said, where are you on analytics? He's like, we're moving away from them. Here's the Wings behind the trend. And I look at the Florida Panthers. I was saying this on Kevin's show last night, the Hughes Sports Podcast. I'm going into my 6th season covering the Panthers and the Lightning. And I'm not behind the scenes with the Lightning like I am with the Panthers, but I see Vincent Viola all the time. He's probably the most visible owner I've ever been around in sports. And he's always got security and an entourage, but he's always around. He's talking to people. And it's so funny. I won't name names, but I'd say some of the top-ranking Panthers officials, which they should do when Vincent Viola, the owner, walks by, they basically stand at attention when he's walking by, which is cool. But Vincent's usually in a bomber coat, sometimes jeans. He's a real guy. And I just laugh because George Richards was standing in the hall one day from the Florida Hockey Now. He's been covering the Panthers for 20 years at Florida Hockey Now. And before that, the Miami Herald. And George stood up almost to salute the owner, Vincent, and Vincent turned and slapped him in the gut, knocked him over. He's that guy. Vincent's around. And by the way, the general manager is not an analytics guy. Bill Zito is an eye test feel guy. And who's favored to win the Stanley Cup this year? Oh, yeah, the Florida Panthers. You're behind the trend. And as long as you're chasing, you're always going to be behind the trend. 902-518-3033. Yeah, Vancouver Eric. Where were you, Vancouver Eric? I feel like you weren't here off the start. You say game notes. Yes. I read them all.
this rube shows up and he's mad that we're talking about CFL history, which incidentally nobody else is doing. Shout out today to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame for announcing that Greg Pedersen, who's been on Stampeders broadcast since 1994, Joanne Ireland, and who was the third going into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame media wing? I have it here. Joanne Ireland, Greg Pedersen, and Dave Moisty Moyer. Moisty, I got his number in my phone. I'm sorry. He's a behind-the-scenes guy. He's a stats guy. Moisty Moyer. They're all going into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. So, and I had not mentioned that today because, silly me, I was too busy talking about this week's games. Chad Kelly, 1-2 versus Calgary all time. He's the starting quarterback for Toronto tonight. Vernon Adams, 5-5 all time against Toronto. He's starting for the Stampeders. The Argonauts are back home at BMO Field. First time this year where they are 30-13 since 2021 at BMO Field. Will that be a factor? We talked about it all. But he just wasn't here for it, and he's upset. Can't get it. Yeah, thank you, Jeff, the Stamps fan, for pointing out. He says, yes, the Stampeders broadcast now have 2 Hall of Famers. Also very interesting. Virginia Eric writes in and he says, Brandon Banks, Canadian Football Hall of Fame, well-deserved. Your thoughts, Rod? Oh, yeah. Well, tell you what, of course. Sad that the dude had to leave Hamilton to go win a Grey Cup, and he did with Toronto, but he had to leave Hamilton to go win a Grey Cup. You know, that's unfortunate. Speedy B is one of the greatest players the CFL's ever had. I'm laughing because him and I had a Twitter spat back in the day. I'm kind of glad that I'm not in those anymore. It was because I was just being like Jeff the Stamps fan and trolling these guys. But Speedy B just came unglued on me one time. I said he shouldn't have won the most outstanding player over Cody Fajardo. Lost his mind. Which, here's one for you. You want to talk about MVP versus most outstanding player, and they say, the thing is, who's the most valuable? Bo Levi Mitchell should win MVP this year because without him, they can't win a game. Like, if you're going to argue and debate with me, and I'm not saying you are, Virginia Eric, but for anybody that wants to, pack a lunch. Bo Levi Mitchell should win. Well, it's not MVP. It's most outstanding player. I'm just saying if it was MVP, it should be Bo, because the team can't win without him. That tells you how valuable he is, doesn't it? Arlen Bruce checking in, NFL, CFL alum. He says, great day, RP. Looking forward to the BC Lions game at BC Place versus the Ticats. Where is the CFL commissioner? Play loonies and toonies in all the stadiums. That'll get his attention. I'm just passing it along. Yeah, as Jeff says, nothing beats a good cyber battle. I just got tired of it. Arguing with some of these guys wasn't much of a challenge. Like, we were going back and forth about this, and I said, I can't hear you. My 2 Grey Cup rings are plugging my ears. That sent him around the cuckoo's nest. And he was like, oh, and then the Ticats fans jumped in on me and all the rest. Oh, what position did you play? Doesn't matter. My 2 Grey Cup rings are plugging my ears. You have none. It's just not worth it. Next hour, by the way, Rickie Ricardo joining us from DraftKings. He's also the Spanish-language voice of the New York Yankees and the Philadelphia Eagles. How about that? The viewers loved him last time. We've brought him back. Rickie Ricardo coming up. We'll be right back here on the RP Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Get ready for a whole lot of fun over the next 60 minutes. It's the RP Show coming at you on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada. We're rolling into hour 2, WQBC Radio, your home of sports and sports talk in West Central Georgia and Eastern Alabama. Game Plus across Canada, streaming, and of course podcast form. It's the Rod Pedersen Show. Hello! There will be no show on Friday, so this serves as kind of a football Thursday. Hope you're all ready for it. We got a very special guest today. The last time he was on was the first time he was on. It was Rickie Ricardo, the Spanish-language voice of the New York Yankees and the Philadelphia Eagles, also DraftKings MLB analyst with a partnership with DraftKings. We got Rickie Ricardo coming up a little later on. So let's get down to business. But how excited are you on this football Thursday? I'll just tell you right now, a couple housekeeping items. The text line is 902-518-3033. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Any comments you would like on anything that we're talking about today, they are welcomed. And also the streaming chat as well. It helps me out a lot with audience participation. But point one on what we're calling a Football Thursday is the National Football League. It's been 179 days since the Super Bowl. Tonight, the long wait is over as we get to see two NFL teams face off in an exhibition. The annual Pro Football Hall of Fame game goes tonight in Canton, Ohio. And how about this? The Carolina Panthers are laying 1.5 at FanDuel against the Arizona Cardinals. Do you know the degenerate betting talk? The Carolina Panthers are 1.5-point favorites over the Arizona Cardinals tonight in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, which, by the way, Eric in Virginia, you've been watching through the whole show. Where exactly in Virginia are you? You're a Carolina Panthers fan. You'll clearly be tuned in tonight. But tell me where you are specific. If you don't mind saying, I don't know your last name, just tell us where you're at, because it'll help me out. Because in these segments where I go solo, you know that I like to call myself the Larry King of Sports Talk, because we're not doing open line anymore. We're taking live viewer comments via text and the streaming chat. So, Eric in Virginia, hello. I like the names, and specifically 2-word names like Linda. There was always a Linda calling Larry King back. Linda in Round Rock, Texas. You're on the air. Hello. Eric in Virginia. What do you think about the Panthers tonight? And the poll question, by the way, is brought to you by EMJ Marketing, Elite Speakers Bureau. From impactful keynote speakers to strategic marketing, EMJ Marketing is your all-in-one solution. Visit them at emjmarketing.com. The poll question is, are you following NFL preseason? Our Hour 1, the reason I give that look is our Hour 1 co-host, Kevin the Medium, said he's not. Basically said if they're showing highlights on SportsCenter, he'll watch that, but he's not sitting down to watch it, which is, by the way, totally fine. That's what we do. We're not going to fight about it. But we are a sports talk show. I'm a sports guy. I'm following the NFL preseason for a variety of reasons. And when people say they're not into it, which 71% of respondents are saying they are not following the NFL preseason, can't make them. Sometimes I feel like they're not being honest when they vote on these polls. I really think that. But maybe they're right. But there is also NFL news. Basically, after 179 days since the Super Bowl, they are playing tonight, and that's exciting to me. I don't care who you are. But the news out of the league, the Indianapolis Colts and Jonathan Taylor have agreed to terms on a 2-year, $44 million extension. Taylor's deal comes 2 days after Atlanta Falcons star Bijan Robinson's record-breaking extension, the latest big contract in the running back market. Since entering the NFL in 2020, JT is the second most rushing yards and scrimmage touchdowns behind only King Derrick Henry. Detroit Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs also is seeking a new deal and has been a hold-in at training camp for the Lions. Hold-in meaning he's practicing, but he's not going to play until he gets a new deal. At least that's the threat. I'm actually happy that the running backs are getting paid. Actually, that could be a talking point because the DraftKings people asked me what I wanted to talk to Rickie Ricardo about, and I'm like, well, since he's the voice of the Yankees, I would like to talk about what they did at the MLB trade deadline, an outlook for the Blue Jays because we're a Blue Jays show. We're airing in Vegas where the A's are moving to shortly, maybe an A's outlook, and a little bit on the Eagles. But how about these running backs being paid? His Eagles paid Saquon Barkley. That worked out pretty well for them. The Giants wouldn't do it. So the backs are finally being paid. They're not a dime a dozen. They want to say they're a dime, but they're not a dime a dozen. They're not. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of running backs out there, but there's not a lot of great ones. And teams tried to get away with cheaping out on the running backs. It's clearly not working. And furthermore, let me skip. That's point one, National Football League. Point two is this. I'm going a little out of order here, but the Detroit Red Wings are hiring a search firm to help find Steve Yzerman's successor, according to Helen St. James of the Detroit Free Press. Stevie Y was the club's general manager from April of 2019 until last month when he transitioned to a role of senior advisor. Owner Christopher Illich and the firm are expected to look for an analytics and data-driven successor to Yzerman, according to St. James. Sean Horkoff has been handling day-to-day GM duties in the interim, but that reportedly does not extend to trades. So the reason I tie that in with point two is, if you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we had Lou Gamelin on here from the 12-Ounce Sports Network in Michigan. He does such a great job covering the Red Wings, the Tigers, the Lions. Detroit's his thing. And whether it's true or not, I don't know. There's opinions a very large part of what we do here and what everybody does in the sports media business. And he said that Steve Yzerman had a tough time adjusting to the new economics of the National Hockey League. For instance, he would have never given Leo Carlsson $18 million a year like the Anaheim Ducks did, and he's not even anywhere near the best player in the National Hockey League. He just wouldn't do it. And as Lou Gamelin heard and feels, Stevie Y was reluctant to get with or
couldn't get with the economics, the new economics of the National Hockey League. Either way, he's not their GM anymore, and whoever the new GM will be, the biggest item in Detroit, the item on their list concerns the future of forward Dylan Larkin. The team's captain requested a trade out of Detroit shortly after the regular season ended, and as Helen St. James reports, has not budged on that trade request. So, as I spoke about with Lou a couple of weeks ago, it hasn't changed. I don't know. Do you think they should have a plan, these teams? I remember when the Las Vegas Raiders hired Pete Carroll. Was it not you, Rich in Edmonton, if you're still with us, you wrote in here and said, what's the Pete Carroll succession plan for the Raiders after Pete? I'm like, I'm pretty sure they don't have one. Should they have one? I don't know. I got a succession plan for things. These are big money teams, pretty smart guys and gals operating these teams. Doesn't look like they have a plan. You toured Steve Yzerman right after the draft, and you still don't have him replaced a month later, and now you're going to a search firm. These aren't jobs that you put on Indeed. Or maybe it is. What do I know? Point 3, because it is the middle of summer. I'm not that CFL guy that I used to be, the one with little man syndrome. Like every time you see the football's back because the NFL's playing. What do you mean? We've been playing since May. That's not me. But what I will say is we are in Week 10 of the Canadian Football League High, and there's a Thursday night football game tonight in Toronto. From what I understand, CBS Sports Network is airing it. I'm not telling anybody to go off the Silver State Sports to go watch that. I'm just saying it's on there. I finally dug these out of the trunk of my car. They've been sitting there for a while, these mini helmets that I bought at a garage sale. I just love it so much. Calgary Stampeders at the Toronto Argonauts. 7 p.m. Eastern. TSN in Canada, CFL Plus, and across America and around the world, and CBS Sports Network. It is a big one. I'm mentioning it here for the football fans that watch this show across Nevada that are following the league. Jim Kelly's nephew, have we said it enough? Chad Kelly is back starting for the Toronto Argonauts tonight. He's 2-3 all-time against the Calgary Stampeders, and former Oregon star Vernon Adams Jr. starts for Calgary. He is 5-5 all-time against Toronto. Kevin the Medium made his picks back in hour 1. He's got the Stampeders to win tonight. So did I tell you that we don't have a show Friday, Monday? So today is serving as our football Friday, but on a Thursday. By the way, the warm-up, which is what we're doing here, is brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the official travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions. When it comes to sports, trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Now, one of the things, as I roll along, point 1 was NFL. Point 2, Detroit Red Wings GM search. Point 3, Canadian Football League Week 10 kicking off tonight. Point 4, MLB. DraftKings, who, by the way, I'm speaking code to producer Corey here right now. DraftKings lined up the interview with Rickie Ricardo, our guest producer Corey. So DraftKings is on it. He's the Spanish-language voice of the New York Yankees and the Philadelphia Phillies. So DraftKings wanted to know what we wanted to talk to Rickie about. He's coming up in the next segment, 5 minutes away. Perhaps no team had a more polarizing MLB trade deadline than the New York Yankees. On one hand, a team firmly entrenched in the playoff field entering trade season added the National League leader in slugging percentage, Luis Garcia Jr., and a controllable outfielder, Helio Ramos, without giving up their most coveted prospects. On the other hand, a club with plenty of injury questions and some pretty glaring holes didn't make the big splashy move many were expecting, and some new lineup questions were raised by the deals they did make. So I want to get into that with Rickie Ricardo, voice of the Yankees, when he joins us next, plus a little on the Blue Jays. Again, they're playing in a matinee at Chicago today. In their most recent game, Ernie Clement's 2-run homer in the 10th lifted the Blue Jays to a 5-4 win over the Houston Astros. Game was tied at 3-3 entering the 10th with the automatic runner on second when Clement sent the first pitch from Bennett Sosa into left field to put the Blue Jays on top. I want an outlook on the Blue Jays from Rickie Ricardo when he joins us next. Yankees trade deadline wrap and a little bit on the A's, who, by the way, visiting the Reds today. Yankees off, and that's why Rickie has graciously been able to afford some time with us. So that's point 4 of the Quick Six Show topics. Updating the poll question again, which quite frankly I find a little disappointing, the results of this. But you'll be very disappointed if you try to make, people think differently than they do. The poll question for EMJ Marketing is, are you following NFL preseason? 71% saying no, they're not following the NFL. How could you not? But hey, it's a free country, and there's a lot of other things going on. But I will be watching the Hall of Fame game tonight out of Canton. Carson Beck, I will say this. Carson Beck, starting quarterback for Arizona. He found out on Tuesday that he's going to be starting for the Cardinals in this football game. He's not going to be starting this year for Jacoby Brissett. Will be the number 1 in Arizona. But we had him down in Miami. Rickie knows with the Miami Hurricanes. Rickie's in Pembroke Pines. I'm in Boca. We all watched the national championship where with the game on the line, with a minute to go, Carson Beck didn't get it done for the Miami Hurricanes. I'm sorry, that's his legacy to me in college. Didn't get it done when the game was on the line. You know who did? Fernando Mendoza of Indiana in that game at Hard Rock Stadium. Just saying. Okay, I'm reading it now. Ryan from upstate New York checks in. He says, I got a question for Mr. Ricardo. I feel like that should be Senior Ricardo. In your interactions with Yankee fans, are they as frustrated and disappointed in Brian Cashman at the trade deadline, or are they being patient? Okay. Jeff writes in, he's watching in Toronto. He says, I'll be at the Argos game. Otherwise, I would watch the NFL Hall of Fame game. Well, I'll be watching, Jeff. I'll report on it for you. Interesting. James writes in from the Queen City, says, not watching the preseason, but will be watching Hard Knocks. To be honest, I can't knock you on that. It might be more entertaining than what they're going to trot out onto the field tonight. But, I mean, how on earth do you give a betting line for preseason game 1 in the National Football League? How on earth? Where would you even begin? Carolina Panthers favored by 1.5 versus the Cardinals tonight. For the CFL fans that are watching, I bought these at a garage sale, these mini helmets. Calgary Stampeders, Toronto Argonauts, Edmonton Eskimos. Arlen Bruce writes in, Hall of Famer, 2-time Grey Cup champion, NFL, CFL alum. He says, players or coaches I think of when I see that? Edmonton, Warren Moon. Calgary, Travis Moore. Timo. Saskatchewan, Darian Durant. BC Lions, Wally Buono. It's a fun game. Some guy actually wrote in here last hour, and why are you talking about that instead of this week's games? Like, because we already did, you jackwagon. Show up on time. Noon Eastern is when we go to air live. Prime time in Vegas. So we got questions coming in for Rickie Ricardo from our viewers. I have my own. I feel like we're going to have a lot of fun when we come back in our guest segment. It's brought to you by our friends, of course, at Prairie Panels, prairiepanels.ca. If you're building a barn, a rink, a commercial space, a shop, Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels. Visit them online at prairiepanels.ca. We'll be right back with Rickie Ricardo on the RP Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
We are now joined by DraftKings and WFAN baseball analyst Rickie Ricardo. Check out DraftKings Sportsbook. All MLB season now also available in Spanish. Rickie, you were very popular with our viewers the last time. That probably does not come as breaking news to you, but we're pleased to welcome you back today on an off day. How you doing, senor?
Rod, I am well, and it's good to be back with you and your great audience, and let's go for another ride.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Well, you saw what we were talking about, the Yankees coming out of the trade deadline. I guess there's a lot of opinions on what they did or didn't do. What's yours?
Interesting. I thought the number one need was a right-handed hitting catcher. A few of them went off the board. Obviously, Adley Rutschman was the get. Coming about 24 hours before on Monday, the momentum seemed to be shifting toward maybe the Yankees being able to get Rutschman. The Orioles said they had Mike Elias, and their GM said, we have no qualms in trading within the division, which that was the first stone that had to be conquered. And all of a sudden, here comes the news that the Boston Red Sox have put together this huge package, and Rutschman ends up with the Yankees' arch rival. I thought they would pivot to someone else that would fit the bill of a right-handed hitting catcher. They didn't. They went for two positions where, let's face it, Rod, they've got two first basemen right now that have been doing pretty well. Ben Rice, one of the top hitters in the entire American League, and Paul Goldschmidt, the veteran, who's been platooning with Rice. When you put those two numbers together, they're top five in the American League, but they go for Luis Garcia Jr., from the Washington Nationals, leading the National League in slugging, which creates a little bit of a logjam now at first base. That's now up to Aaron Boone to figure out how to use him. But then Elliot Ramos, who's had a down year with the San Francisco Giants, he comes aboard, which forces some roster moves as a right-handed hitting outfielder, which takes your Jason Dominguez, the Martian, puts him back into the minor leagues. He gets sent down after the first night that Ramos is acquired. So, Aaron Judge said yesterday publicly that he will be back this season. Giancarlo Stanton's already taking batting practice off live pitching. So at some point, there's not going to be enough beds at the inn for the Yankees and their power-hitting outfielders.
Okay, well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, they're going to be in the playoffs. The Blue Jays are not, and they are my team. I'm going to get to them. But I know that Greg told you that I wanted to ask you about the A's. They're coming to Vegas. We're airing in primetime in Vegas daily. Up and down season for the A's. By the time they get to Vegas, what do you think the outlook is for that club and their fans?
Well, listen, they've got a nucleus. When you've got Wilson and Nick Kurtz, you've got a nucleus of young players that they're going to build from. I like Mark Kotsay as a manager. I've liked him as a player. I like him to have a beer with if I had a chance one day to just sit down and schmooze and have a couple of cold beers with him. He's that kind of guy. I think he fits the bill in Vegas perfectly. By the time this franchise gets to Glitter Gulch, I think they'll be competitive. At that point, I think the owner will spend some money, and I think you're going to have a very, very strong product in the American League West, which is in play. It's in flux. You're looking at it right now. Houston on top of the division, a game or two over 500. Very unstable there. The Texas Rangers the same way. Seattle below 500. So the division doesn't have a team that you say they're going to be great for years to come. I think the A's, with their young core that's maturing and getting better, they'll add more pitching. They've got good young arms in the system. By the time they get into that beautiful place that they're building right down the road from you, Rod, I think they'll be a highly competitive team. The honeymoon will be there, obviously, for the first few years. They'll sell out every night. But for some reason, my gut tells me the A's will be back in play for the division by the time they get to Las Vegas and they drive in, as you always see on those old movies, the Welcome to Las Vegas sign. That'll be a very good ball club.
No kidding. It'd be nice to say home of the World Series champion. Hey, we'll see. But Yankees, Eagles broadcaster Rickie Ricardo is with us. I mentioned the Blue Jays. That's my lifelong team. Last year was so much fun, the rivalry with the Yankees and all that went on, and then just selling off our guys at the deadline. I'll be honest, as a lifelong Blue Jays fan, we're kind of used to it. Everybody leaves. Ricky, everybody leaves us. Was last year a blip, or is this year a blip?
Well, no, Rod, I think it's a hangover. Look, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa needed to have a bigger lead, a secondary lead off third base. You'd still be celebrating. That's the bottom line. I thought they bought and sold at the deadline. I'd like the Soriano acquisition because that's looking forward to next year's starting rotation. Okay, Gosman goes to the Cubs. Look, if you like him that much, you can sign him back in free agency. He's going to be a free agent. Now he's a little long in the tooth, but he's been great as a Blue Jay. Hoffman, goodbye. He didn't get the job done in the ninth inning against the Dodgers. That's the bottom line.
Somebody finally said it. Somebody said it. Thank you.
A good haul getting Arrighetti in the Dalton Varsho deal. So, in essence, it wasn't a fire sale. They bought and sold. Look, if I were a Blue Jay fan, and I love the franchise, I highly respect the franchise, love the ballpark, love the city, the whole thing. But I think this is a year where, okay, you took us right to the prefaces of a championship last year. We're going to forgive you. Now Vladdy has to hit a Rod. You've got as many home runs in Toronto as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. does. That's unacceptable. But looking forward, they'll lose Scherzer, they'll lose some of the veterans, they'll shave some payroll off, they'll have some money to spend and re-up everything for next season. There'll be some names out there that'll fit what they're doing. They've had some injuries this year. Goodbye to George Springer. They'll bring in some youth. I think they'll be a rejuvenated franchise going into 2026.
Viewers were asking me to ask you about the fans, and I'm sitting here talking to you. You dealing with Yankees fans and Eagles fans. Woo!
Yeah.
Woo! But I mean, Jays fans booed Vladdy, and that hurt my heart. At Rogers Center they did.
What do you think it is with him? I'd like to think it's all between his ears and he can get over it. What do you think it is?
I do think it's between the ears. I think he is the poster child for that World Series hangover, number one. Plus, Rod, I was around the Dominican Republic team a lot during the World Baseball Classic. And these guys, to a man, they really revved it up. They were in mid-season form in March. That team had built up so much energy. Now, Tatis had problems at the beginning of the year. Julio Rodriguez from the Mariners had trouble at the beginning of the year. Vladdy still hasn't come out of his funk from the beginning of the year. I see a common thread with a lot of the guys, the superstars that were on that Dominican Republic team in the World Baseball Classic, not winning that tournament and having their bubble kind of burst and having burnt so much energy so early in the process. In March, not even, from opening day on, a lot of those guys have had trouble catching up to what they usually do on the back of their baseball card. I think Vladdy is the guy that has been most affected by maybe just being out of sync by losing the World Series. It was so good last year, single-handedly beats the Yankees in that series, gets his team, that's his team, signs the big deal, puts the franchise on his shoulders, comes this close from winning a World Series championship, comes this close from winning a World Baseball Classic championship, gets neither one of them. I think Vladdy it's almost like he needs a therapist a little bit. Maybe see the sports psychologist and forget that, hey, you went 0 for 2 in 2 big series, World Series and WBC. Just be Vladdy. They love you in Canada. Maybe play for Team Canada in the next World Baseball Classic. How about that? Okay?
Oh,
but I think he'll be back.
You're dropping. That's a sore spot. That's a sore spot in Canada, as you know. I'm sure you know that.
Well,
that he's not playing.
I would love to see. The Dominican Republic has plenty of guys that can play first base, big-time players. Maybe Vladdy should represent the country from which he was born.
Yeah. Well, by the way, the World Baseball Classic, you said you were Venezuela won it, right? Venezuela?
Yes.
Yeah, just so you know.
And a lot of their guys. A lot of their big-time players, Rod, have had slow starts or haven't really come out of it yet during the regular season. It's really a common thread that I've seen a lot with guys that were really revved up and high energy in March coming out of, baseball is a routine. Guys have the slow buildup through the month of March into the regular season. These guys and these teams, they were revved up RPMs at the highest in the month of March. I think it may have thrown some of the body clocks off for the regular baseball season.
That's a great explanation. And by the way, I'm just realizing now why you and I have never crossed paths in South Florida is you will find me in Sunrise pretty much all the time.
I'm right down the road. I'm in Pembroke
Okay.
Pines.
Well, when you ever get a break, we will meet up down there. I'm always following the Panthers around, and when not that, the Lightning. But Ryan in Saratoga, New York's watching. He says, Rickie was most excellent filling in for John Sterling on WFAN. Both legends in the radio booth in my mind. Eric in Virginia writes in. He says, question for Senior Rickie. How do you think Bryce Harper will fare in right field? He's a Nats fan, and you speak about not enough room at the end. At the end, Harper's moved out to right, eh? How do you think that's going to fare?
It's interesting. Look, he said himself, quote, I would move back to the outfield if it means improving the ball club. That's a key piece for the Phillies with Luis Arraez. There's been some DraftKings movement on the Philadelphia Phillies from plus 1,900 to plus 1,800. So there is some movement with that deal. They made some moves as far as the bullpen is concerned, but having Luis Arraez, a contact hitter, high average hitter, that will give Schwarber and Harper some opportunities with men on base that maybe they haven't seen before because it's swing or miss, strikeout, home run or strikeout basically at the top of that Phillies order. But having Arraez there, it moves the needle for that team. It moved the needle on DraftKings, obviously. And I love the acquisition of Arraez. I think Harper will be just fine. Matter of fact, I think he'll be better going back to the outfield. He doesn't have to think out there. At first base, it's a very cerebral position. Harper back to his natural right field position. Just think about hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Do the Dodgers get too much hate or just enough?
Well, their line moved a little bit too with the Skubal acquisition. Listen, God bless them. If they have they're not breaking any rules. It's the same thing that the Yankees were accused of way back when, of being the dark shadow of Major League Baseball. That it was unfair what they were doing. They're not breaking any rules, at least not yet. Maybe there'll be new rules after the new CBA, Rod, but as of right now, the Dodgers have the pieces that other teams want. Any other team, as Skubal said the other day, 29 other teams could have made a deal to bring Tarek Skubal to their ball club. The Dodgers gave up some of their top people. Now they had these guys that they got from other deals. The kid Hope, who is the big one in that deal, came from the Cubs for Michael Bush, so they had him stashed away. They're 3-4 chessboard moves ahead of everybody else, Friedman and the Dodgers organization. My hat's off to them. They're not breaking any rules. They're doing it right. They're going for a three-peat. They might run into a team that wears pinstripes in the World Series, and I think
Wouldn't that be
maybe
something?
that might be the team that cuts them off at the pass, shall we say.
Well, speaking of that, by the way, we're joined by DraftKings and WFAN baseball analyst Rickie Ricardo. Check out DraftKings Sportsbook and all MLB season, now also available in Spanish. Before we do switch to football, give us your pitch on DraftKings MLB.
Listen, it's going to get good. These are the dog days of August, and then September baseball right down the stretch. There's been movement, as I said. The Tampa Bay Rays have moved a little bit at plus 1,400 to plus 1,300. The Rays have been fantastic. Great moves at the deadline. So getting Hicks from the Miami Marlins, you've seen plenty of Hicks. Very good. Grand slam in his first game there. The Cubs, there's some big market teams. This postseason, for the American baseball fan, when you've got Chicago involved, L.A. involved, the Yankees involved, there's going to be some big-time teams that are going to be back. The Red Sox have been on fire. They don't lose anymore. They've actually caught the Yankees in the loss column right now. 51 losses each team in the American League. DraftKings in Espanol, in English, either way you like it, all 50 states. Download the DraftKings app. Just play responsibly. But this is the time to really get locked in. DraftKings has every updated number each and every day, the individual players, the teams. But going forward, these last 40-odd games, Rod, as you know, this is when it gets spicy. And then there's a little thing called the National Football League that's just around the corner. Hall of Fame game tonight. So football from tonight. Football is back, and you get all of it on DraftKings. You get it in either language, in English or in Espanol, and in all 50 states. Download the app right now.
Are you reading my diary? That's where we're going next. And with Jonathan Taylor getting paid in Indy, I'm thinking about your Eagles. You broadcast the Eagles games.
Yes.
You talk about teams being ahead of the curve, Dodgers ahead of the curve. The Eagles paid Saquon Barkley. How'd it turn out? Like, were they ahead of the – now teams are paying the backs, which they weren't before. They wouldn't do it.
Yeah, the value of the high-quality running back is back in the National Football League. Proof that Taylor got his bag. Saquon was fantastic, breaking all kinds of records, getting the Eagles to that Super Bowl in his first season. It's a cyclical thing. We saw years where the running back was a second thought. Now, by using Saquon the way the Eagles did a couple of years ago, it brings to light again, and Andy Reid's offense, which is now going to be featuring Walker coming as the MVP from the Seattle Seahawks. So you're seeing that the running back position once again is being highlighted in these offenses. Now, look, that's not to say some defensive coordinators aren't going to figure some of these guys out, but it takes time. It's a cycle. Right now, running backs have value again. I love it because I grew up watching, the Emmitt Smiths. I go back to watch O.J. Simpson, who's a beautiful-looking football player. The whole other thing is a different conversation. But you go back years and watching the John Rigginses of the world and the Curtis Martins of the world and the Barry Sanderses of the world. The running back is back, and I love it.
Absolutely. And with the 3 minutes we have left, for what it's worth, USA Today came out with their standings and record projections yesterday. I don't know if you saw it. They got the Eagles third in the NFC East. Now, I'm a Cowboys fan. Sorry. Third. I think they had about 8 wins. They're still all that, are they not?
Yes, they are. DraftKings has them at minus 115 to win the division Super Bowl. They're the fifth favorite to win the Super Bowl. DraftKings at plus 1,600. Sean Mannion, the new offensive coordinator, is installing an offense which is very friendly to the offensive line. That has always been the Eagles' strength. How to use the offensive line, keep them healthy. If you've got a healthy dose of Barkley, and now you allow Jalen Hurts. This is his team this year, Rod. No more, no more A.J. Brown. This is squarely on the shoulders of A.J. If he can get the job done on offense, they've got a very talented defense. They paid Carter top dollar. He'll be anchoring that defense. They've got depth at every position. This is a year where the Eagles will go as far as Jalen Hurts takes them, but Saquon is going to be the anchor that allows Hurts to be at his best.
Yeah, I see that, and I'm like, is this Eagles hate? I mean, why would you? You know this. It's won and lost on the line of scrimmage, and they've got it handled on both sides. They got a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Nick Sirianni's back, which I'm sure you're a fan of. How could you not be? I don't understand it. They seem loaded for bear. Okay, anything else, Ricky?
Howie Roseman, the best GM in the National Football League.
Boom. There's the mic drop. Okay, what's next for you in the 30 seconds we have left? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Off day today, but we're back for a big series tomorrow night. Go to DraftKings. Atlanta Braves, first place in the National League East, at Yankee Stadium against the Yankees. How about this, Rod, for a Saturday afternoon? It's Old Timers Day, Saturday, in the Bronx. All the great Yankees coming back, right? The regular game, Garrett Cole against Chris Sale. How about that for a matchup? Right? DraftKings.
All right.
Download the app. Inglés, Español, 50 states. Yankees, Braves this weekend.
He's out. Great job, Ricky. Thanks for the time on an off day. Yankees broadcaster, Eagles as well. Rickie Ricardo will be right back on the RP Show.
Ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth a team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center.
Now.
The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at SaskTix.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, kids, gather around. We're going to have a little sports broadcasting, sports media 101 session here right now. Really love the chat with Rickie Ricardo, Yankees Eagles Spanish-language broadcaster. Rich in Edmonton, whom we adore. He's a P1 viewer of the show. He writes in, he says, too much DraftKings advertising. Get enough of that on TV. Hey, would you rather pay? Would you rather pay for the streaming feed here? What is it? DraftKings, the biggest sports betting outfit in the world, comes to me and says, hey, we got a bunch of guys to put on. Who would you like? I gave him a list of names, and Rickie was one of them, and he's got to come on and read his commercial. Or unless you want to pay for streaming, do you want to pay for the RP show? I don't know. Somehow or another, we all got to make money, man. So deal with it. Jeff the Stamps fan writes that he says the Bills left OJ off the Ring of Honor in new stadium. Shocking. You were talking about people being canceled? I feel like that's one that we're all okay with. Ryan in upstate New York. This is why I think the World Baseball Classic should be played after the MLB season ends, not before. It wrecks players from all the adrenaline for putting on your country's uniform. Rich says, I get it, Rod. Believe me. We got to read sponsors, guy. Like you're getting it for free. Not just you, like everybody. I love the people that would write into rodpeterson.com and tell me what to write. Not related to you, Rich. I'm just saying. Sponsors run the show. Noni writes in. She's in Calgary. Great show today, Rod. Listening on my way to Sask to cheer on my Riders. And good luck to your Miller Express in the playoffs. Thank you. By the way, we have our barbecue tonight. Year-end awards. Going to go fast. Game 1, Game 2, Friday, Saturday. Our fireballer, Weston Walls from Terrell, Texas. Central Methodist on the mound, set a league record for strikeouts. Saturday night, Apache Junction, Arizona product, Jacob Glazner on the mound. And we're playing Medicine Hat. Tickets are flying off the shelves. It's a very exciting time of year. I asked Eric where in Virginia he's from. It just helps out in the Larry King thing. He says Mason Neck, Virginia. What did I say? I love the 2-word names. Eric. In Mason Neck, Virginia. You're on the air. Hello. Linda. There was always a Linda. Linda. In Round Rock, Texas. You're on the hello. Rodney. In Boca Raton, Florida. You're on. Or Ted in Yonkers. Kirk writes in, he's watching in Toronto. Hi, Rod. The Toronto Argonauts are expecting their second largest regular season crowd since their 2016 home opener. All you can eat, everyone. How about that? That's the big Thursday night opener in the Canadian Football League. It's a pro league. We handle it with reverence. But we also understand there are a lot of other pro leagues out there. So we do what we can. Some of you will understand this. Many of you won't. It's funny you speak with the Moose Jaw Miller Express, but I said I feel like Mr. Dress-Up sitting around here with all my toys on the desk, a bell, a kazoo. Mr. Dress-Up was Canada's Mr. Rogers. But there's a big to-do in Canada for great reason. Our good friend Kelly Rudy let go by Rogers Sportsnet, the NHL broadcaster. Kelly Rudy, you remember him, I would think, LA Kings goalie, San Jose Sharks goalie.
But all these kids that play on the Moose Jaw Miller Express, like Ben Wallachek from Wichita, Kansas, he's watching. They're all into my shows now. They have no clue who Kelly Rudy is. Don't even get me going on Mr. Dress Up. And the Canadian sports icons, they just have no idea. It's kind of the interesting thing is some of them actually want to know who they. Rod, tell us about these guys. And I love those kids. We don't have enough time to get. Oh, somebody wrote in here earlier. Jason from Red Deer says there's a Vince Young documentary coming out on Netflix. I'm not the biggest Netflix guy. I have it. But there's other things that I do rather than sitting and watching and streaming. I did particularly enjoy the Hulk Hogan one. We've talked about that on this show. But I can give you my own Vince Young documentary if you want. As a matter of fact, I will do that when we come back from the break, because we had him in 2017 for what felt like significant time. Great guy, but a lot of things became very clear to me in that time with Vince Young. We'll talk about that and more when we come back for Overtime. You're watching the RP Show, Silver State Sports, Game Plus streaming, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
All right, we're back for Overtime, presented by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where skill and fun collide. We'll be doing a live show from there Wednesday, August the 19th, with Stanley Cup champion Colin Pedersen in the house. You're welcome to join us, 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. Baseball has batting cages. Golf has driving ranges. Why wouldn't hockey have shooting lanes? Well, we do at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Okay, from the audience, I love the questions. With regards to my baseball team, I was actually shocked the other day because I said, and I might have said it on the show, how does everybody know about this baseball team and the heater that we're on, this historic season where there's no newspapers? I mean, there are, but people don't read it. Somehow they're finding it. Playoffs start Friday night, and you can watch on Flow College Baseball. I'll be broadcasting it. Jason writes it. He says, what's the ratio of American versus Canadian players on the Millers, Rod? I would say to the Canadian football, but we have more Americans on the Millers. I would say 70-30, 70% Americans. From Homestead, Florida to Apache Junction, Arizona to Wichita, Kansas, we got a couple of guys. Terrell, Texas, Pearland, Texas, Wallkill, New York, Worcester, Ohio, Bensonville, Illinois. Yeah. Sounds like a Hank Snow song. Okay, thank you, Virginia, Eric. Eric in Mason Neck, Virginia. Hello. He says, Vince Young never looked like he put in a lot of effort. Could have just been his body language. Not sure. He says, I don't do Netflix, so I won't see it. That's why I pay for it. I had to fight with my accountant over this. I'm writing off my Netflix subscription. I'm writing it off because I watch the shows and come here and talk about it and write it in my columns. Okay. Just Vince Young, nice guy. If I told you that he was a big kid, would that surprise you? We signed him as a free agent. He was going to make a comeback, 2-time Pro Bowler. I mean, if you go look it up, he had some great numbers. Outstanding history at University of Texas. He's a legend there where he still lives in Austin. Won a Rose Bowl. We all know the story. And I do remember the day that we signed him. It was snow on the ground, and he brought his agent, Lee Steinberg, and this is the first place that I ever met. Show me the money. Lee Steinberg was that day, and that was my first brush with the National Football League, and it was, you might as well have just had a parade coming down the hallway going into the news conference. That was a Netflix episode. His agent, his girlfriend, his kids, his manager, all of this, and Lee Steinberg sat right beside me, and then, of course, found out Lee Steinberg, the inspiration of the movie Jerry Maguire, that was after Lee, like about Lee, loosely. Anyways, we signed him, comes to training camp. Actually, he came to the mini camp. He fared very well there, and it was funny because a bunch of Eagles fans showed up at our camp in Vero Beach, Florida. Hello. To boo him. They stood and booed him on the side of the field. It was amazing. And we had a player by the name of, you might remember, well, he had a great camp. Xavier Bingham was his name. And he picked off Vince Young in a skelly drill and wouldn't give the ball back. He started running down the sidelines. I picked off Vince Young. I picked off Vince Young. It was a big deal to play against Vince Young. I get it. And then we got into training camp. And the thing that I didn't like was there was a bunch of little kids lined up to get Vince Young's autograph, and he blew them off. And that annoyed me. I think you've been watching this show long enough. Sports Illustrated sent a guy up to do a story on the comeback. It was big news. We had absolutely jammed SMF Field for the inter-squad game, which is where he, why am I laughing? Popped his hamstring, down in a heap, never played again. It was like somebody shot him from the press box. Down. But I'm like, they're the fans, man. They're the kids. You once were one. Go sign the autographs. Take the selfie. Don't be an asshole. They're what keep us in business. That bothered me. Rich in Edmonton says the Miller Express logo is freaking solid. Well, by the way, it gets
it gets bullied by some people in the media and in the league, but they're just knobs. These are actually train spikes, just so you know. The Express is for the train that went through here for years. Those are train spikes, just so you know. And the name Miller's is we pay. It's the Moose Jaw Miller Express. It's to pay homage to the mill workers in the Robin Hood flour mill going back 100 years. This team is a movie. Ryan in upstate New York says, since there is no show tomorrow, wanted to wish the Rod Squad a safe and happy weekend. Same to you, Ryan. Enjoy whatever it is you get up to. No show Friday, Monday, programming considerations, promo considerations, which I don't even know what those are. I'll be busy broadcasting baseball. It'll be big fun. Jason in Red Deer says, blowing off fans wanting autographs. That's the NFL in him. CFL players would stand all day and sign autographs. Well, I can tell you stories about that. Ken Austin, our coach, legend, he goes, 2007, I had better not hear about you guys not signing an autograph, not giving a fan the time of day back in 2007. I was standing there. I'd better not hear this. So, yeah. Yeah. Rich in Edmonton says, I know my Sask history. Moose Jaw was the rail town. You could probably call us the hub city, but for whatever reason, Saskatoon jumped on it. But it's the connector to all over the province. As you can tell, I love it here very much. But we'll be heading back to Florida Labor Day weekend. Not that anybody needs to know. I'm just telling you. Would like to see the Hulk Hogan documentary. Trust me, if you're going to watch it this weekend because you got some time, just be prepared for Linda Hogan. Just be prepared for what comes out of her mouth. I was not prepared. It took me a couple of days to get over that in the very first episode. Thanks to Rickie Ricardo. Thank you to Kevin, the media. Be safe, everybody. Enjoy all of the games. Most of all, be good to yourself. And we'll see you Tuesday here on the RP Show.
That.